1992, I had an epiphany, a moment of clarity in life. It was Christmas Eve, a night that's always deeply treasured in my mind and soul, a night of anticipation and joy. And for every year of my life, the majority of my big Italian family would congregate in the basement of our small New Jersey home and feast and celebrate the holiday. But this year was different. I didn't know quite why it was, but I thought it might have been because I was newly married and showing my beautiful bride, who was from a Jewish background, just how Christmas was celebrated, and celebrated by Italians. But on the way from my apartment to my parents' house, I heard a radio broadcaster say that the last few decades of the me generation had heaped blame on their parents for all their problems, and maybe we could take time this one Christmas to tell our parents what they did right in our lives.
Mom and Dad, this is a tape to say what our parents did right. So many people have said what their parents have done wrong in their lives and why they're this way or that way, but we want to tell you our favorite memories and our favorite stories.
So that night I spoke to my brothers and sisters, and I asked them to secretly come upstairs to my old bedroom so I could record on videotape a gift that has no equal, a gift of thankfulness. We spoke from our hearts and we told our parents that night what they did right in our lives. This was a slight departure from the usual meaningless arguments and conversations we would have from time to time. And later that night, after most of my aunts and uncles left, we sat down with our parents, we put them in front of the television and played the video for them. As I watched them watch it and well up with tears, I also started to cry. And then around midnight, my parents started to speak of their lives, and I grabbed my video camera and I started to ask them questions about where they lived, what they had done, about their parents and grandparents, about our whole family.
How'd you meet Daddy?
Oh, he lived on the same block and I never knew him. And Grandma used to say, oh, a redheaded family lived next door. And they moved out of this house within a year. And after he moved out, I met him. I met him through Uncle Al and Aunt Millie. They were going for pizza one night and they asked me if I wanted to go and he was with them. And he was in the Navy at the time. And
What year was that?
About 1943.
As my mother and father answered my questions, they became fascinating to me. Here I had known them my whole life, but I never took much interest in who they were or where they came from. But that Christmas I met two new interesting people who gained my respect and admiration more than ever before. And as I ended the questioning, my mother turned towards the camera and said,
Christmas of 1992. And we'll be back for 93.
See you next year.
But she would never get to see Christmas 1993, as she died of breast cancer that July 24th, 6 months to the day after that special Christmas Eve. I was 28 years old, and like most Italian men, my mother meant the world to me. I thank God every day for that video. And a few years later, after my mother's death, my father passed away also. I've always had a hard time expressing myself to the people I love. I don't know what it is, but I just feel stupid. But when I have a microphone in front of me and a guitar in my hand, I feel like it's the fullest range of my emotions, and my heart can speak to each one that I've failed to tell how much I love. With the passing of my parents, I sought music as a sanctum, and when my father died, I felt like an orphan. I often went to bed praying that I would see my parents in my dreams, and that prayer inspired this song.